Ina, great to see you. Thank you for making a bit of time to come and talk about what you're doing. You're doing something that's really quite unusual, actually. So I'm very grateful that you're willing to come and talk to us about it. Let me start off with what I hope is an interesting question. You're using AI to help build products that are designed to help children. I mean, you can explain to people a bit more about that in a bit. Why don't you just use kids in that? Why are you using AI? Just talk us through that.
Thank you, Paul, for the invitation. First of all, great to see you. And thank you for reaching out and be curious about what we are doing. AI we see as just a tool, as a PowerPoint or any other computer software program. Yes, we are using AI for simplicity in terms of cost efficiency, about getting accurate picture in a more cost-effective way, and using the Pixar stylized characters,
Mhm.
which are very familiar to children because everyone likes Disney. And it's a perfect tool to get Disney to healthcare.
Okay, so tell us about how you're doing that. Just explain to people what you're doing with technology because it's quite an interesting thing that you're developing. I mean, just explain it in a practical sense what it is you're doing and why that matters and what role children play in it.
It's very simple. We listen to doctors, to their messaging, right? And transforming them in a very simplified information for children that are not as a distracting. Cartoons, which we know are different to Pixar animations because they are not to entertain, they are to prepare. But yet they should be familiar to them, what they know, what they watch. Sometimes when we piloting this with the new episodes with the real children, sometimes they don't realize it's instruction. So they're thinking it's fun, they're thinking it's show, and which is great. But our job is to prepare children, to give them comfort, to educate them, because if you know what to expect, naturally the fear goes down and the
Sure.
confidence level goes up.
Sure. So give us a practical example. Let's say I had to take my goddaughter, for example. I had to take her to the dentist. I mean, how do you help with that? Just give us a very practical example.
I'm a woman, I'm a mom, I'm a researcher, I'm very practical. So we are not building expensive apps or fancy VR that takes the spaces at the doctor's offices. No, we just do simple videos that can be embedded on the YouTube, shared with the doctors, being shown in a dentist waiting room, can be sent with a patient reminder, with the link, with the code. And when we spoke with parents, they love it. They say this is very simple. Something what they don't have to prepare, they don't need to think, because what parents are lacking is time, creativity, idea what is going to happen. And when you don't know what to expect, you have all sorts of ideas. So we are taking this on us and providing them information beforehand.
Okay, so just to make sure I understood this correctly, so what you're saying is that if I was going to take my goddaughter to the dentist, there's a short video that she could watch. It's fun, it's interesting, it's informative, and it's all about going to the dentist and what's going to happen or not going to happen, and so it helps prepare the child for a visit to the dentist or the doctor or the hospital. Is that have I understood that correctly?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we have a very simple modular structure. Meet your dentist, one video. What's going to happen during your first dental visit if this is a first dental checkup? The second video. The third video is about a specific procedure they may need to perform, right? And so on and so forth. So think about this as a Canva for doctors and Duolingo for kids and families. Just this.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I think it's a brilliant proposition. I mean, especially reducing anxiety for kids going to the dentist and the doctor's office. I'm sure it's a pretty important thing to do. So let's just take one step back from that. Tell me about being an entrepreneur. I mean, what is it that or when did you decide that you wanted to become an entrepreneur? Because I mean, you come from a medical background, I think, don't you? I mean, what made you make that step in a completely different direction?
I wouldn't say it's a different direction because I always been creating in my job materials for children, for families in clinical trials, which is even more dramatic than dental checkup. So if you think about, forbid God, you got a child which needs to go through that, it's a horrendous,
Yeah,
it's a horrendous experience, and yet we provide them very basic tools, reminder cards and something written. And that's what I was doing for years. And then I saw parents struggle, children struggle, the anxiety levels goes up, all sorts of things why we don't recruit in clinical trials. Those who are from the space, they will understand what we are talking about, but I don't want to make it too complicated. I haven't seen anybody who would address this in a meaningful way. And I saw this opportunity. If nobody creates, why we cannot?
right.
And I love art, I love technology. And if you use technology with heart for a purpose, I think it's a beautiful thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I looked at some of the stuff that you've produced. I mean, it is good fun and it's beautifully done. And I can see why children would respond positively to it without any shadow of a doubt. I mean, so now that you are an entrepreneur, though, I mean, you've made that sort of leap, if you like. I mean, how do you see the job of the CEO? I mean, what's your take on that?
Job as a CEO is a freedom. It's definitely a freedom to try something faster than big corporate company would do because you got an opportunity, you got the decision making, you got the vision. It's everything about execution. So it's all in your hands. It is opportunity to talk to families and children directly. It is opportunity to experiment um, with something very sensitive like a
Mm.
child voice,
Yeah.
to build a model, to teach it to sing, to teach it on the medical storytelling, which for me, it's a niche which I absolutely love.
Yeah. And in terms of building a company, I mean, give us your thoughts on, I mean, because obviously the original idea was yours, but to scale it globally, which I know is where you want to go, I mean, how do you, I mean, what's your thoughts on how you build a company that will enable you to do that? I mean, give us your sort of insights into that.
Well, to begin with, is a product market fit, as we say, as entrepreneur, right? When you got a product market fit, customers will love your product, and it doesn't matter how it is UI, UX looks like, because you can have a beautifully made app. You can spend a lot of money on that, but clinicians would never adopt it.
Mm,
So as entrepreneur, myself, if I see my product is being adopted in dentistry, in clinical trials, and we build this pre-made templates, which is easy for clinical research sites from for dentists, just use it and customize it and modify with AI. That's essentially is the road to scale, which AI enables us to
mhm.
if we deal with this responsibly.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you, I mean, one of the interesting things about being a CEO, I mean, my experience is that it's a bit of a roller coaster. You know, you have good days, you have bad days, and everything in between. I mean, what is it about this particular mission that kind of motivates you to kind of ride that roller coaster, if you see what I mean, to get out of bed every day and keep plugging away at building the company? I mean, give us a sense of your motivation. What is it that why does this matter to you so much?
I see the transformation of my own child, how he become from curious to active
Right.
medical explainer on the global scale, and how this gives him confidence about his healthcare choices, about understanding of his own body, understanding of the medical conditions. And this what motivates me because I think if I see this amazing transformation from shy child into the confidence presenter and the voiceover for many, many children on their behalf, I'm just thinking how much meaningful transformation we can allow children worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of kids that have a lot of things they're anxious about, and so it's there's lots of things to address, aren't there? I mean, just in healthcare, I would have thought.
I see this as an opportunity to give a stage to children. Being in this industry for so long, I haven't seen many companies who would co-create with children and families.
Right.
Very best, people send them interview, do workshops, but to embed the co-development process into the development pipeline. And this is interesting how children perceiving information or how parents perceiving information. So,
Mm.
for example, our videos are not AI generated and animated. That's not the product we're building. We're building the product which goes through different children, through their eyes, through their lenses, through the voice of Nicholas, who is the voiceover, the real voiceover. We're using hybrid techniques. We never just purely AI generated. Yes, it's cheaper to do that way, but that's not effective.
Yeah, yeah. And when how did you hit on the idea to co-create it? Because most people would have just gone and said, "Oh, it's the easiest way to do it is just to use AI." I mean, how did you hit on the idea to focus on bringing children in to help you produce, produce the content? And where did that idea come from?
That's from the years of research experience, because that's the point. You cannot, we're not creating marketing materials. We're not creating fun videos that the kids would just binge watch. It's not the point. It's a different product. It's a therapeutically great clinical videos. And for example, we got a draft, we send it to the doctor. The doctor say, well, that's not the message I want to give to the family. We say, okay, what's the main message? And what we found through iterations and the rounds of collaborations, we keep one message per video on. Because if you give children and parents too many ideas, they won't remember any. So to giving them one doctor advice into the engaging form that children and families understand, that's essentially we do. And we see the metrics and we see that people stick to that. And we are above 60% what is normal for parents and families on the channels to stick. So we are above that. We are nearly 70 or 75%, which is amazing because that shows people stick to that content.
Yeah, and it's obviously meaningful to them, isn't it? It matters, you know.
It's
That,
meaningful and they like it and they are thinking yeah, like I said, so we obviously it's fine for pediatric dentistry to present in a way that's a little bit exciting. It's a little bit like a show, but in clinical trials we have a different language because that's unethical. In clinical trials things can go wrong or can go right. So we're modifying the language depending on the audience and depending on whether this is a clinical trials in the normal hospital settings, because at the end of the day, our videos are going through ethic committees. They need to get approved in order to being presented in clinical trials and being faced by families worldwide. So we are not just the videos, we are actually patient-facing materials.
yeah, yeah. So listen, you've touched on, your customers. I mean, what does a good customer look like to you? I mean, what would a good customer be for you in terms of how you do this?
Multidisciplinary, who understands the children, who have a children's oncologist in a team, who has creativity, who sees the fear real in every day, who likes gadgets, who is the co-creator. So we are not offering them ready-made solutions. We are not an agency. We are co-creator. We are a partner. So the good customer to us is who is willing to co-create, to take our ideas, to try with their population groups. And transparency is the key.
Yeah. And are there lots of customers like that? I mean, are doctors and dentists and researchers, I mean, are they very open to that, or is it a difficult thing to sell?
At the moment, we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate, and especially in pediatric dentistry, Pediatric dentists are the best in this sense for this product. One, the fear is real for them.
Yeah.
They see everyday crying children, so they know they can experiment with different formats, and they're willing to experiment. So that's number one. Number two, we are very fortunate, even with pediatric hospitals, who see the need on scaling content cost efficiently and offering gamified video options. Because children nowadays are digital. They have cell phones from age of 2.
Yeah.
But again, our product is not about binge watching. It's not about distractions. So we are releasing even audio version because sometimes even on neurodiverse children, too much of the screen is the bad thing.
Mhm.
So we are conscious of this.
Yeah. And I mean, it sounds to me like you've got a bunch of customers that are really willing to work with you, which means that you'll be able to create a great product, because it will exactly meet their needs. Let me just turn from that to the team, because to deliver that product, you've got to build a team, particularly if you're going to do this at scale. I mean, what are your thoughts about building up a team around you to kind of do that and deliver that? Because it's not a, it's quite a complicated process, co-creation. How do you build a team to help you do that? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I don't care about CVs, and I I rarely ask somebody to send me CV. I see if somebody can execute, if somebody can seize the vision, if somebody has the right skills, who understand children, who understand the parents, who completely get it, what we are doing. And sometimes I see the big eyes and no interest in pediatrics, so obviously I will never hire this person. And sometimes we got the teams, we got interns who are helping us. We got freelancers team, we got a stable team, we got internal team. So people just love and passionate of what we are doing. It's all about legacy and about reason why we're doing this.
Mm. And is it difficult to recruit people like that?
No, because we're very fortunate because before we pivoted into this product, we had for 3 years a global community innovation for medtech community. So our name is around for quite a while
Mm.
as a innovation hub. So people know us, and I don't recruit people because every day people applying because they know us from the past. From we run mentorship programs, we run entrepreneurship summits. We launched the telehealth platform for Ukrainian refugees, where we consulted virtually 800 patients.
Wow.
Majority of them were children and pregnant women and elderly. So we are fortunate that we are for a while, but now we're laser focused on pediatrics and digital engagement.
Yeah. And how do you, once you've, I mean, getting the right people on the bus is one thing. Once you've got them in there, I mean, how do you, what's your take on how you build a high performing team? Because, you haven't got vast amounts of resources and you're trying to do quite a complicated job. How do you make sure that you build a team that can perform effectively? I mean, how do you create an environment in which they can do that?
Well, first of all, we'll give people opportunity to grow. So you give them a simple task, and then if you see that the person has time, has interest to stick longer, then you give them more responsibilities. So in this respect, it's a quite easy thing to do and to break it into the different pieces and delegate things that would be low risk. And the person who is executing this task has an opportunity to grow with the task and take more responsibilities.
Yeah. And what about if there are problems? I mean, how do you manage the team when things go wrong?
Well, yes, of course, but at the minute we are agile team, very, very agile.
Right.
And I saw big transformation. I know people will be worried about listening to that, about can AI can take my job? Unfortunately, yes. And I saw this transformation. I would lie if I would say you we did the same business as usual as we did for 3 years. That's not true. things and roles like marketing, they gone, content creation, they gone. But yet there are still good people
Mm.
who have the vision for your product. They understand what you're doing. And I don't care what they use, AI, non-AI, if they produce something that AI cannot produce because they understand. This is where I see the future. And we need to be cautious of that. AI is not going to take your role as long you know what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. And in terms of, I mean, that's a very good point, actually. I'm sure people will be reassured to hear that. In terms of, you know, going forward, and I know you're very ambitious, and I mean, how do you work out as the CEO how to build the business, the direction of travel? How do you sort of separate out where you're going from all the other things that you could do? I mean, I often get distracted by stuff. I mean, how do you stay focused? What are your thoughts about that process?
Well, distraction is real, I have to say. I'm very, very cautious of this because I had this problem in the past. I learned to be better. And sometimes I'm just thinking, I'm doing one thing, I'm doing this really good before I do 10 things and
Mm.
have too many open areas. So to give you example, we are not taking customers. So we have inquiries from schools, education programs, and so on and so forth. We're not taking them because that's another use case, another customer, which would take out our resources and potentially dilute the effect which
Yeah.
we're doing. We are laser focused on pediatric dentistry, not because we can make more money. It's not the point. The money is not important. I'm not building this company because of the revenue. I'm building this for impact.
Mm.
And we see the biggest impact is happening in chair preparations. So if we can serve this customer segment really, really well, we can take these lessons and deploy this in clinical trials. And I'm not taking any more use cases but this at the minute. And sometimes it's really hard to say no to opportunities,
Mm.
but this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes people say, yes, but your product can be this and this, and yes, it can. But we're a small team. And to your previous point, you need either raise a lot and pay people big salaries, but then I doubt the result will be better.
Mm.
Or you just know your segment, one, maximum two. I'm coming from clinical trials. It's natural for me to do this on in parallel because this is the space I really understand and see big transformation. But there are more cooks in the soup. There are more decision makers. There are many people who need to sign the check before they buy your product. Whereas with pediatric dentistry, the fear is real every day.
Mm. Yeah. And I mean, in terms of, I mean, I know you're growing quite quickly. In terms of how, when you've gone into different countries, different jurisdictions, I mean, has the business evolved as you've had to deal with kind of different cultures? I mean, doing business in Berlin, very different from doing business in Singapore. I mean, I'm not saying you're in Berlin and Singapore particularly, but you get my point about different cultures. And given what you do, and it's about communicating and engaging young people. I mean, have you had to sort of localize the product for different countries, for different ways of doing things? I mean, tell us.
Very good question, Paul. This is a very good question. Knowing the culture is the key. Knowing the market
Mm.
is the key. We are dealing with children and their perceptions and languages. We are multilingual product by design.
Yeah.
Having said that, we are serving the segment of Switzerland, Spain, at the minute very confidently because this is the languages they speak, this is the culture, and my culture as well. So yeah, French, Spanish, German, English, Russian. This is by default languages because this is the spoken languages at the company without making any effort.
Yeah. I mean, but to come back to my point about, I mean, children grow up in a different, have a different experience of growing up in Switzerland as they do in Spain. I mean, how do you accommodate that
Yeah.
difference? Because, if I was a Spanish child, I think I would have been brought up a very different way to if I was a Swiss child, and I have different expectations and different anxieties. I mean, that's a really quite a complex thing to manage.
Yeah. So the only to be honest with you, Spain, Germany, so these markets, they are not that different because the healthcare structure is about the same.
Right.
Uh, the reimbursement strategy, how the dental offices are working, they are about the same in Europe. Okay. When we had inquiries, to your point, when we had inquiries in Arab speaking countries, Emirates, Egypt,
Yeah.
etc. The appetite is big, but I can't serve this market because that we tried adopt our characters. To your point, it's easy for us to adopt the character, and we did it from Germany to Switzerland to Spain because this is still the same style. The language doesn't change too much. The sequencing of the languages, the length of the languages is relatively easy for us to modify and localize these versions. But to go to something like Saudi, Egypt, that's totally different ball game,
Mm.
as well as India. So we are cautious of this. So at the minute, we are very comfortable with the US and European market because we tried it and we tested it. The localization between Switzerland and Spain, not that much. But when we try to localize this in Saudi, that's a different
Very
ballgame.
different. Yeah. Yeah, it must make it pretty challenging, actually. Okay, so just to pick up your point about those different markets, I mean, the, how do you see the process of going into a new market? I know, I mean, when I talk to some CEOs, they say I do loads of research, I get boots on the ground, I go and spend a chunk of time there. And on the other hand, I talk to other CEOs who say, well, this client contacted me from Switzerland, or I just went out there and just did it. I mean, where are you on that spectrum? Do you feel that going into new markets requires huge amounts of energy and effort? I mean, what's your take on, if you like, market entry processes?
Yeah. I see this as a pilot opportunity. So, for example, if you have a good pilot to say, I give you a specific example. If I had tomorrow in Saudi Arabia the right team as a pediatric hospital, whom I know what team structure that
Right.
would be. For example, if they would have a child psychologist, if they would have a researchers, if they would have a patient engagement leads. So if I see they have the right expertise, they know what they're doing, I think it is a success if you have the right skills already.
Okay, so
If
it's really about finding the right partner.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Okay.
not so much about, going and learn about the countries or find somebody who sells the product. It's not about that. It's about because they need to localize it, they need to customize it, they need to have a similar co-creation team locally. They also need to have children and parents when they will modify our characters or they will modify our scripts. They need to make sure this is right for their procedure, for their public population. And they need to be able to test it and give us the feedback, which would be aligned with our co-creation processes. So it's all about process.
Mm. Okay. And I mean, it sounds like there's a fair bit of work there, though.
It's actually easier than it sounds. So it sounds complicated, but it's not at all. Because think of this: you have a script, and then you know which order you want to talk through your presentation, right? So as long you know. But of course, if you don't know what you're talking about, that would be really difficult to modify the presentation for, don't know, say another investor.
Yeah, yeah, sure, I get that. So, okay, so let me just talk about some of the things that you've learned from the experience. I mean, what would you say has been your biggest failure so far? I mean, I know most entrepreneurs talk about things going wrong all the time. I mean, have you had anything really significant where you thought, oh God, that's really going to knock us for six? I mean, have you had that on the journey?
Yes, I think is in my journey a lot. I learned a lot. So what I learned that you should always build a product about the problem you personally experienced. So
Right.
that's number one. If you try to fit your So say I had so many students and mentees who would say, I really want to have a startup. What problem do I need to find to make the product? So this is not how it works. That's number one. And number two, if you know firsthand this problem you're trying to solve from different angles,
Mm.
this is where I think the meaningful change can happen. And the failure is in my past. Well, first of all, what we mentioned, you and I, that's to be distracted. It's very easy to get distracted.
Yeah.
People give you all sorts of ideas. Try this, try that, and then you spend endless loops in trying to close the customer or get another use case, and then you realize for this use case I need another deck. For no, I need another website or I need another video. Like no. That's the complicated. So I learned that just try to do what you're doing really well, not launching many products at the same time, just do one. So what Nicholas was talking before we started was this rules of three twos we're doing for pediatric dentists. So that's the product we're focusing on right now. Can we do more videos? Yes, certainly, but we're not doing them because we want to present something meaningful to people. It's not about doing the script in ChatGPT and doing the quick AI over it and plug it Nicholas' voice. That's not the point. So we want to make sure that the dentist who asks us what he wants to convey, it's the right message. We want this to test with other dentists. This is the same message he's talking in India or US, in Germany, it's the same message. If this is different, what would be different?
Yeah.
Tested with children and presented at the conference where Nicholas will say how this project evolved. So I was asking him yesterday because the dentist said he would like to have this rule, and then we need to understand how to bring this to children that they would understand and make it and make sense of this. And Nicholas yesterday came up with amazing idea. He said, "Well, we need to say children." So what was it? He said your teeth will be soft as a slug or strong as a shark. I thought that's amazing.
Yeah.
ChatGPT would never come up with this.
Yeah, yeah. Which I guess it shows you the benefits of actually involving children. In your case, you're using your son Nicola to help you with that. But it shows you the benefits of actually engaging with the person or the group of people that will actually use the product, doesn't it? I mean, that's what you're saying.
Yes, and we need to test it. We need to test it in a small group of children, and then we see what the YouTube channel is saying us on a larger population. What's the benefit?
Mm.
Because if we go to the pediatric dentist, we are not giving them maybe works product. We give him pre-made, beautifully made, tested product that he can trial on his audience if this works the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you about the other side to that. I mean, most entrepreneurs learn a lot from failure. Let me ask you about the other side of the coin. I mean, what would you say your biggest achievements are so far?
Say no. Say no to certain opportunities. Say no to certain clients. Say no to sort of ideas. I think this was a transformational for me.
Mm. What do you? I mean, I totally get that point about saying no. I mean, it's very difficult to do, but it's actually really important. So I certainly understand why you feel strongly about that. Let me ask you about where you're going then. I mean, tell me what exciting stuff is on the horizon for you. I know you've got lots of ambitions for the things that you want to do, but what sort of stuff is on the immediate horizon?
Our pediatric conference. I'm very excited that the two children will join me. One is 17, another one is 6.
Right.
So they will present their own views. I'm really excited that they have a voice. And we are very fortunate that our children have been approved to speak. I'm very excited that another intern will join me. She's a brilliant girl who understands the product. To your point about building the team, I'm sure she will grow with the opportunities. I'm very excited for her. Um, we want to launch our plug and play tested product and see how pediatric dentists react to that and what they will learn with their audience and how this will lead us to modification to the future episodes, which is transformational for me and really exciting because when we started the company, all our videos were about marketing.
Right.
And we moved from marketing into the procedural. And this is where I see the biggest ambition. Another ambition, I know you may not feel the sentiment, but we mastered AI to make accurate stethoscope. It was quite hard actually to do
Right. Right.
bec- because AI was doing stethoscope with several tubes with the wrong lead, with wrong position. And maybe people don't care, I don't know, but we do because if you give children inaccurate information from the beginning, that's a breach of trust.
Yeah.
So we pay attention even to the how realistic the stethoscope can look like. We are now mastered AI to mimic children reaction from scary to unsure, etc. So we use the children model, including Nicholas, show the face when you're angry, show the face when you're happy. And we are projecting these real emotions
Mm.
into the 3D animations using AI, which has been tremendously challenging to control the model. But eventually, this is why our customer paying our checks, because to achieve this medical accuracy with AI, it's challenging.
Yeah, sure. But must be you must feel pretty good about succeeding and getting that done.
I'm very happy to say that we can even produce with the 3D animations with AI the chambers of the heart,
Wow.
the slices of the heart, right, to present the vein and the arteria, in making it still alive, but yet realistic, non-scary, non-threatening manner. And that's big for us.
Yeah, sure. And I'm sure very exciting. Totally understand that. And good luck with the conference. Let me ask you a couple of final questions. I mean, we've talked a lot about the role that AI plays, and I know you have a particular view about how AI should be used. I mean, how do you think it's going to play out over the next few years in your world? I mean, AI is already showing that it can do medical diagnosis stuff better than human doctors and so on. I mean, what's your view about the way it's going to play out? Because the technology is still relatively young. AI is still relatively young. What are your thoughts on the next couple of years?
I think people will lose out if they don't learn
Yeah.
the limitations of AI and don't learn the skills how to deal with this. That's number one. Like, for example, we have 5 different AI models we're using for children's animations, and it's inconsistent. It's inconsistent producing the results and the accuracy you need. So we need people who would understand the technology,
Hmm.
be passionate about this certain matter. I think AI will make people more niche,
Right.
um, even more niche than it is right now. For example, from prompt engineering to say, I'm just talking right now about our business.
Yeah.
I'm sure with the medical diagnosis there will be different roles, but within our process, I can see 25 different roles that could be brought as a particular training to clinicians to be really good at that.
Right.
Starting with prompt engineering to producing and controlling the accurate model, in training the model, voice over experts, etc. I mean, there's a tremendous opportunity for this young generation. But what I'm really sad to see sometimes when we ask proactively about, I don't know, say, because people applying to work with us. If I see the output as a chat GPT generated answer and sent as a piece of work to apply for the job, that's it.
Yeah.
So people who will think that AI is work that way will be losing out. But those people who will use ChatGPT and bring their own vision and help them to raise their own idea, maybe in a different way, different formats, or find out what they really mean, these people will win.
Yeah. Well, either way, I mean, it's going to be an interesting few years, would be my view on it. Let me ask you one last thing. So, I mean, just for the people that are listening, I mean, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, if somebody's interested in talking to you, I mean, how do they do that?
Go on our website, www.bionabu.com, hit on contact, and send us inquiry. We would be delighted to start the pilot project or explain the medical procedure to to children, no matter how confusing they are.
Cool. Ina, thank you for taking a bit of time to come and tell us about that. I mean, it's absolutely fascinating. I think it's fascinating, the stuff that you're doing, and really, really important, actually. I totally get why this stuff is important for children. So, thank you for telling us about it. It's a great story, it's a great product, and good luck going forward.
Thank you, Paul.
Cheers. Bye bye.